I get it when a friend says they're about to spend a few $100 on a mixer and a pair of headphones. The first thing I ask is, do you really need both together, or could you end up with gear that sits half-used in a corner? It's that exact moment of hesitation that made me pull up the TASCAM Model 24 bundle and actually walk through the whole setup in my own little home studio before I even thought about recommending it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Model 24 isn't just a mixer you stick on a shelf and forget about. It's built around 16 high-grade TASCAM mic preamps, which means you can plug in a full drum kit, a vocal chain, a guitar amp, and a couple of line-level keyboards all at once without worrying about noise creeping in. Those preamps are the sort of thing you hear a difference with when you're recording a quiet acoustic guitar or a whisper soft vocal. The signal stays clean, and the low end stays tight. On top of that, the unit doubles as an audio interface, so you can send every channel straight into your DAW over USB or Thunderbolt without needing a separate box. For anyone who's been juggling a tiny interface and a separate mixer, that integration can shave off a lot of cable clutter and desk space. Now, the headphones in this bundle, the TH02B, are a closed-back dynamic design that most reviewers describe as having a clean mid-range and a surprisingly rich bass response for a pair that folds flat for transport. I tried them while tracking a folk vocal, and they gave me enough isolation to hear the nuances of my performance without the room's reflections leaking in. When I switched to a bass guitar overdub, the low end felt present enough to catch any unwanted muddiness before it hit the mix. The foldable frame is a nice touch if you ever need to pack your gear for a gig or a remote recording session. They slip into a backpack without adding bulk. If you're the type of creator who likes to tweak EQ knobs on the fly, the Model 24's layout feels familiar. Each channel sports its own EQ and auxiliary send knobs, so you can shape a snare's bite or route a guitar signal to an external reverb unit without digging into software menus. In practice, that means you can get a decent, re-added chord sound in the room, then fine-tune it later in your DAW. I found the auxiliary sends especially handy when I wanted to set up a separate monitor mix for a guitarist who prefers a different balance than the main mix. Just turn the AUX knob, pull a line out to a small stage monitor, and you're good. That said, the analog nature of the Model 24 also comes with a learning curve. If you've never touched a physical mixer, those rows of knobs can feel overwhelming at first, and there's no visual feedback on levels beyond the LED meters. The unit does not have the deep recall functionality of a fully digital mixer. You can't save a whole session's routing with a single click. So if you're a pure click-and-drag producer who lives inside a DAW and never touches hardware, you might find yourself spending more time figuring out the board than actually making music. Another practical point is the headphone monitoring setup. The TH02B can be plugged directly into the mixer's headphone output, giving you a 0 latency monitor feed. That's great for tracking, but the headphones lack the high-resolution detail you'd get from a pair of open-back studio monitors or higher-end closed-backs. If your mixing decisions depend on hearing subtle decay tails or ultra-fine stereo imaging, you'll probably want to pair this bundle with a set of reference monitors later on. Who should actually buy this combo? Think of a small band that records rehearsals, a podcaster who wants multiple mic inputs and the ability to send one host to a phone line via an AUX send, or a home studio musician who likes the tactile feel of analog controls but doesn't want to shell out for a separate interface. The value comes from having a single piece of hardware that covers recording, mixing, and monitoring in one package, which can be a real money saver compared to buying a 12-channel interface, a separate analog mixer, and a dedicated pair of headphones. Who should skip it? If you're just looking for a USB audio interface to plug a single mic into your laptop, you'll be paying for a lot of features you'll never touch. Likewise, if you need the highest-end headphone fidelity for critical mastering work, the TH02B, while solid, won't match a dedicated reference model. And for anyone who wants instant scene recall for live sound gigs, the lack of digital memory makes the Model 24 a bit of a hassle. Overall, after a few days of real-world testing recording a drum kit, tracking vocals, and running a small live stream, the bundle feels like it hits a sweet spot between affordability and functionality. The preamps deliver clean gain. The built-in interface works reliably with both Windows and